This is the story of Class 3-3, also known as Class 3 of the 9th grade at Yomiyama North Middle School in Japan. 1972, the first year. In Class 3-3 during the year 1972, there was a student named Misaki Yomiyama. He was a charming student, good-looking, and excellent in both academics and sports. All the teachers and students admired him. Halfway through the school year, he died in an accident. There are many theories about this, some saying he died in a plane crash, while others say he died because of a house fire. Unable to accept his death, his classmates decided to continue acting as if he was still alive, talking with his desk, pretending to go home with him, etc. Even at graduation, the principal arranged to have Misaki's seat included in the ceremony. After graduation, they took a picture of the class and found Misaki included with a pale face, but smiling like everyone else. After that incident, the class had gone closer to death itself. 1972, the calamity of Class 3-3 begins. At the beginning of the school year following Misaki's death, the class found that they had an extra student and were one desk short. At first they thought it was just an error and ignored it. Unbeknownst to them, however, the calamity of Class 3-3 had begun. Tragically, 6 students and 10 of their family members died during the school year. It wasn't until later that they found that there had been a dead student in the class all along, masquerading as one of the living until the year's end. The dead one, also referred to as the extra, is a former student or faculty member who died while being part of Class 3-3, but then somehow resurrected as part of the class in a later year, despite being dead to themselves and everyone else. The extra looks and acts like a normal, living person. There is no form of physical examination or line of personing which can distinguish the extra from the living. The memories of the people around the extra and the extra himself are altered such that they forget that the extra have ever died and believe that he is still alive. This memory alteration also extends to written records, retroactively erasing all evidence of their death. Because of this unnatural presence of this dead person walking amongst the living, at least one student from Class 3-3, or one of their family members, dies each month. At the end of the school year, the extra simply disappears, and the calamity's effects on the class written records are reversed, ultimately revealing the extra's identity. The calamity had run its course, marking an end to the deaths until the next year. 1983, the year the calamity ended prematurely. By all accounts, the calamity continued to take its toll on Class 3-3 unabated every year since the original incident. Exceptionally, however, in 1983, the calamity ended prematurely in August, with only 7 recorded deaths that year. That year, the class went on a pilgrimage to Yomiyama Shrine on the return, from which 2 students, Jun Homoguchi and Yuki Hoshikawa, both lost their lives. The early end of the calamity was thought to coincide with the act of pilgrimage to this shrine, but pilgrimages undertaken by future classes did not produce any effect. What ultimately ended the calamity that year remained a mystery to all except for the student who ended it, Katsumi Matsunaga, who never shared his story with the class. Later that year, he left a clue at the school for future students to find. But due to the effects of the calamity, even he forgot what form the clue took and what information it contained. 1988. The charm is devised. Over the years, the students of Class 3-3 had tried many ways to prevent the calamity, including moving to a class in a different room, and changing the class name from 3-3 to 3C, all without success. Eventually, however, a sort of charm was devised by Class 3-3's countermeasures, which proved to be successful. They could prevent the calamity for their year by treating one student in the class as if he or she doesn't exist, in order to make up for the presence of the dead person. For a whole year, the class would not acknowledge their presence or speak about them during school hours. While being the first effective countermeasure against the calamity, to date the charm has only had a success rate around 50%. In some years, when the charm failed, the cause of failure was obvious, but in other years, the cause was unclear. 1998. In 1998, the charm began on May 1st when Mei Misaki accepted the nomination to become that year's non-existent student. In the meantime, however, a transfer student named Koichi Sakakibara was still recovering in the hospital from a collapsed lung, so he was not present during May's nomination. When he first joined the class on May 6th, the class head of countermeasures, Izumi Akuzawa, was not present, and no one else in the class informed him of the conditions of the charm, possibly for fear of violating the charm themselves. Koichi and Mei had already met once in a chance encounter at the hospital, and when Koichi saw Mei at school, he thought nothing of approaching her and starting a conversation. Thus, conditions of the charm were violated. This later incriminated Mei and Koichi in the eyes of their classmates. Unbeknownst to the rest of the class, the calamity had already claimed its first victim in April, with the death of Mei's twin sister, Misaki Fujioka. Following the breaking of the charm, the calamity proceeded to claim the lives of students and student family members, proving conclusively to the students that the calamity is real. The class eventually tried strengthening the charm by disavowing Koichi as well. However, the graphic suicide of the homeroom teacher soon afterwards proved that this measure was ineffective. Eventually, Koichi and Mei found a lead on a method to reliably ending the calamity, even once it's already started. Their investigation ultimately led them to Katsumi Matsunaga and the audio recording he left in the former 3-3 classroom 15 years ago, detailing the events of that fateful night in 1983 and the means of ending the calamity. The real way to stop the calamity prematurely, or at least until the next school year, is to send the dead back to death. As soon as the dead person dies, he or she will disappear and be forgotten by everyone. The ones personally involved with the dead person's second death will remember them for a while, but even they will eventually forget about the incident. But the trick is, how can you tell who is dead amongst the living when they masquerade as the living themselves?